this is something Antwan and I observed like very quick, like after, two interviews, we started asking questions of actually what we are investigating, what is the potential, and we started to developing the critique as well of the groups that we observed. So, one of the themes that the 3 themes that we published in the paper, there are more stuff to come, but the 3 themes that we published in the paper, the first of them is this kind of identity dissolution and this kind of peeling of identity beyond Israeli, Palestinian, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and so on, and connecting as human to human, And that was very important and deep moment for people, and very connecting, very strongly creating also like tribal connections. But there's also a critique of that, focusing too much on this, which is like this kind of neglecting the political reality of asymmetry, of occupation of Palestinians, of real injustice, So definitely the groups that we observe were not perfect. We were kind of learning from them also how we want to improve that in the future. And some of the narratives were not necessarily challenged in that space. So, me and Antwan, after like 3 interviews, I think we were like at midnight after a whole day of road trip, and we were just like sitting in the car. And both of us didn't verbalize it to each other, this tension, but we were just like both of us holding our head and kind of shit, what are we doing? Like, are we actually tapping into something, or we're normalizing the situation? And it felt like most of our interviewers were actually talking about like this being apolitical, and what we observe, this identity dissolution, if it's too fetishized, as the kind of the main thing, it can create this like apolitical motivation, in which peace is just an inner process, and there's no need to actually act on reality outside. So that's kind of like the tension. It's a known tension between kind of New Age spirituality and activism. It's a tension between like anger and resistance with acceptance. So, the ethos of acceptance, which is part of the psychedelic kind of therapy ethos, might sometimes kind of deny the need to actually resist injustice, be angry at injustice when it's needed. So anger is a very valid emotion, and sometimes it's canceled or it's illegal in these spaces. But then we kind of continued to investigate it, and what we saw is that there's more than that. There's more than an identity dissolution, and challenging narratives or identities is not just like the peeling of them or canceling them, but it's like how to shift them. So, for example, the 3rd team and the 2nd team were much more based on the relations. So, for Israeli to listen to a Palestinian woman singing is very much opening, very much like people talk about expansion and opening, and the elephant in the room is in a way there. It suddenly kind of penetrates the space. And the 3rd team, which was even more political, was actually political revelations of conflict, like the Nakba, seeing dead Palestinian coming out of the grave and kind of being displaced and being taken on buses to Lebanon, or seeing the bleeding of the land and the kind of the blood that's kind of going into the land from these cycles of conflict.